Welcome to Getting the Most from Paid Social, presented by SilverTech. We are a digital marketing agency working to redefine how businesses engage with and understand their customers. To get the most out of today's webinar, here are a few tips. This presentation will last approximately 30 minutes. Q&A will follow. Post questions in the webinar chat pane as we go along. And the slides, recording, and tools will be made available to you after the broadcast. And again, thanks a lot for joining us. I'm your host, Griffin LaFleur, Senior Account Manager and Strategist here at SilverTech. I have overseen several successful paid social campaigns for clients in a variety of industries. Today I'm also joined by Sean Howe, SilverTech's digital strategist and our go-to for optimizing social ads. Welcome, Sean.
Hey, Griffin. Thanks for having me.
This is the fourth in our series of Lead to Loyal Inbound Summer School webinars. We want to thank those that have attended some of our previous ones, but if you're new to the webinar series, you may be asking yourself, what is Lead to Loyal? It's creating valuable digital experiences at each and every touch point, from first interaction through repeat business. By understanding each individual customer interaction, Lead to Loyal allows businesses to navigate and optimize the customer experience better than ever before. It's about building loyalty through the tactics and strategies that we see here: SEO and SEM, web and mobile, content marketing, email marketing, and the topic we are here today to discuss, social media marketing. Taking a look at our agenda, we're going to cover things like beta testing and other best practices for before you get started, as well as getting the most from advertising on Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn altogether. So jumping right into it, before you get started thinking about beta testing and other best practices, we're going to talk about paid social and inbound marketing. So far in SilverTech's Lead to Loyal Inbound Summer School, we've covered how to write great content, how to effectively publish online, and how to choose the right social network for your organization. These topics neatly align with the inbound methodology, which is all about creating relevant and helpful content for your audience to find online without being interruptive. At first, the topic we're here to discuss today might seem to break the interruptive rule, but in fact, you might be thinking that organic posts are the only form of social posting that aligns with the inbound methodology.
However, with all of the major networks competing for revenue and increasingly under pressure from shareholders, the reality is that banks, universities, hospitals, and nonprofits alike all have to pay to reach their audience with social media. It's hard to imagine Facebook, LinkedIn, or Twitter imposing a subscription fee for individual consumers, so their revenue will continue to be generated by advertising. Fortunately, there's a great opportunity to widen your audience with social ads. The best practices covered in this session will help you do so in a manner that is non-interruptive for your audience and affordable for your organization.
With social media advertising, you're still providing people the same great value that you normally would on your other channels, like organic, social, and email. You're just putting some money behind your promotions to show your content to people who you think would benefit from it. And that way, social media advertising still aligns with the inbound marketing methodology. And this is from HubSpot's The Essential Guide to Social Media Advertising. We cite this throughout today's presentation, and we've also included a copy in the handout section for you to take a closer look at. Well, let's talk about the role of organic posts. Every social media marketing strategy should include paid advertising. Even if your budget is stretched thin, you'll find that a small investment, even boosting one post a month, will pay off with great dividends.
We've spoken a lot about the diminished reach of the organic post in the past, but that's not to suggest that the organic post has no role in your social media strategy. It's actually the opposite. Organic posts are a free testing ground for your paid content. Organic posts allow you the opportunity to work out your messaging, test for mobile optimization, and those that actually do perform well are ideal candidates to promote to paid posts.
Let's talk a little bit about SMART goals, Sean. The acronym SMART is useful to keep in mind as you establish your social media advertising objectives. You certainly want to ask yourself, is that goal specific, measurable, attainable? Is the goal relevant to your overall business objectives? And is it time-bound? Do you know when you'll be able to accomplish this? So Sean, we want to talk a little bit about what your thoughts are on how important it is to set SMART goals. And also if you ever find that you end up helping clients either rewrite or define their goals based on these criteria.
Yeah, so it's really important to set these SMART goals. And when I'm working on paid campaigns with clients, I actually end up either helping them set them in the first place, or we end up editing some of them. Because a lot of times, if a client is thinking of doing a campaign and it's not to an audience that they had thought of before, or they don't have any hard goals set around that, that's a conversation that we need to have, and it really helps in the long run when you're running these paid social campaigns.
So we're thinking about choosing the right network to advertise on. The question you need to ask yourself, you need to determine, is which social network you would like to advertise on, and are those the same as when you joined the network? You need to consider the following.
Yeah, the first one you got to think about is it the right fit for my content? So the main reason that you create content is to connect with your audience and help them solve their problems. So social media is simply a component of your content marketing program, one of the channels through which you share your content in the hopes of making that connection with new customers.
You also want to find out, is it a good fit for your brand's voice? But to answer this question, you'll want to refer back to your content marketing strategy. Not only does your content marketing strategy help you drive strategic, proactive, short-term, and long-term content plans, it helps you establish brand standards and editorial direction for all content.
The other thing you need to ask is my audience spending time there? So when you're evaluating a social network, it's important to ask yourself, is my audience there? And if so, can I actually reach them? So to answer that question, you need to have an understanding of who your personas are and what the demographic makeup of each of the social networks are.
In our last webinar, How to Choose the Right Social Network, we discussed, depending on how you answered the questions above, that networks like Pinterest and Snapchat might be a fit for your organization. However, for the purposes of getting the most from your advertising budget, we focus our discussion today on the 3 social media networks that, according to eMarketer, as of March 2016, provide the best ROI, as you can see from our graphic.
And if you're new to social advertising or looking to jumpstart an existing effort, the fundamentals of advertising on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and LinkedIn will serve you well. We will focus today's presentation on Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn, but many of the same principles that apply to advertising on Facebook follow suit onto its photo sharing platform, Instagram. In fact, Facebook gives you the option to display your ads on Instagram while you are creating your campaign for increased reach. But as we discussed in our last webinar, Instagram works best when you are a visual brand or have compelling imagery to share.
The demographic makeup of each network is diverse, and you are likely to find at least one of these networks as a match to who you'd like to target with your ads. As we covered in our last presentation, here's who's spending time on each of the big 4 networks. Facebook is predominantly female, with 83% of online women utilizing the platform and 75% being of online men. It is also the best place to reach millennials and Generation X, ages 18 to 49.
And when we look at Twitter, this one skews the other way. So this is predominantly male, with 22% of online men using it, compared to 15% of online women. And then this one skews a little bit younger. You have most users are between the age of 18 to 29. So you're really hitting that millennial demographic.
And when we look at LinkedIn, we see that this skews more to the male demographic as well. 31% of online men are using LinkedIn, and 27% of online women are using LinkedIn. We can also see that within this demographic, 45% of the people utilizing it are making $75,000 or more a year.
And when we look at Instagram, this is predominantly female, so 38% of online women, and then 26% of online men. The interesting thing about Instagram, though, Griffin, 90% of Instagram users are under 35, so you're really hitting that younger age demographic as well.
All things to consider when determining which network you'd like to advertise on. Let's start our conversation on getting the most from advertising on Facebook. We start off by talking about different ad types. With the opportunity to reach 83% of online women and 75% of online men, Facebook is likely where you will first experiment with social advertising or look to improve your overall return. There are many different ad types to master, but the 2 most important are promoted posts and boosted posts.
Let's dive into promoted posts a little bit, and this actually comes from our partners at HubSpot. So a promoted post is a post created specifically as an ad that you pay for to promote to Facebook users. It will show up in users' news feeds like a normal post, but not on your Facebook business page. And it will have the word sponsor displayed under the name of your business page, like you can see in the image.
And if we're talking about boosted posts, these are organic posts on your Facebook business page that you put money behind. And Facebook will deliver your post to a wider audience like with a promoted post. When compared to promoted posts, boosted posts have more of a focus on reaching your existing fans and increasing engagement on your Facebook page's posts to make it seem like engagement is organic, though they can also be served to people who don't already like your page. Talk a little bit about the differences between the 2. Which is better, a boosted post or a targeted post? It certainly depends on your objective. Here you will refer back to your documented content marketing strategy, but Facebook allows you to choose from the following options. You can see you can send people to your website, boost your posts, get video views, But these are generally the objectives that they allow you to choose from. So Sean, from your experience, which do you prefer to advertise with?
So, I mean, like you said, this really depends on your goals. So a boosted post, that's going to be more ideal if you're looking to make sure those who already like the page or your page get the information that they're looking for. But you can also target other people with that. But remember, only a small percentage of those who like your posts will see them on a regular basis organically. So it can really help if you're trying to reach the audience you already have. But if you want to really drill down and target a specific demographic or group of people who aren't already following you and you're trying to capture a new audience, it might be a good idea to try a targeted post.
And choosing the right image and copy to accompany your Facebook ad can be tricky. As we found when discussing the ideal Facebook post, the ideal post length is a meager 40 characters. Further, the images in your Facebook ads can only contain 20% text. It is critical before you advertise on Facebook, you have precise messaging and a clear sense of your own brand voice. This is again where your documented content marketing strategy comes in handy, and also the ideal image size is 1200 by 627 pixels. Sean, as we mentioned, Facebook limits the amount of text on ads. We'll also see that there are implicit limits on Twitter and LinkedIn. How do you get around this? Or do you avoid text altogether?
Yeah, so those text limits, those are actually there for a pretty good reason, and it mostly comes down to the mobile experience. So when your images scale down to a phone size or even a tablet size sometimes, a lot of that could end up being cut off. So to get around that, I would recommend having your image kind of speak for you, and then B, try and have your ad copy speak to whatever you want people to do or whatever your message is.
At the highest level, Facebook allows you to target your ads based upon demographics. So as an advertiser, you can refine your ads' target audience based on content people have shared about themselves in their Facebook profiles, such as age, gender, relationship status, education, and type of work that they do.
Yeah, so you really have the ability to dive in deep on those specific things. So try not to become too immersed in the minutia of detail that's available to you. Always refer back to your personas as you're choosing the demographics that you want to target. And then when we look at interests on Facebook, interest targeting lets you define your ideal audience by their interests, hobbies, and pages that they like on Facebook. So you have even more options there.
And lastly, thinking about behavior, these are activities that people do on or off Facebook that inform on which device they're using, purchase behaviors or intents, and also travel preferences and more. And I think that this is, extremely helpful to combine all of these to make sure you get the right targeted approach. At SilverTech, we manage Facebook ads for multiple clients, many of whom advertise at a high frequency. Our digital strategists use Facebook's Power Editor as it allows us to manage duplicate ads from past campaigns and edit multiple ads at once. It is likely that if you're managing a Facebook page that advertises infrequently or just getting started, that Facebook's Ad Manager will be the tool that you will use. So prices of Facebook ads vary depending on the objective. If you're looking to make sure that a good organic post simply gets a lift in reach through a boosted post, you may find that a small investment of only $50 will get you the return that you're looking for. But as you strive to reach new audiences, you will need to be prepared to spend more. Here is data from Salesforce's Advertising Index in Q3 of 2015 on how much a Facebook ad costs by industry. The main factors that are measured here are cost per click, or the cost for one click to your website, and cost per million, or the cost for 1,000 impressions or views of your ad.
So if you're interested in the professional services industry and you wanted to get 1,000 clicks to your website, you can see based on the chart that you're likely going to need to spend $1,010. But obviously 1,000 clicks isn't just valuable unto itself. You really need to understand what percentage of your visitors from social posts and ads convert when they get to your website. So for example, if you are a bank looking for loan applications from a Facebook ad campaign, and you know that 5% of your website visitors from social media end up converting, you would only need 25 conversions to reach your application goal, and you're only likely going to have to spend $505 in this case based on the chart. So really understanding that conversion rate when people get to your site is going to factor into how much you actually spend here.
So some key takeaways that you'll want to take advantage of are to always determine your objectives before you start, be specific on your audience targeting, and rotate your ads regularly.
Also, we want to go back and talk about knowing your personas and who you're targeting, and then going back to that documented content marketing strategy that you came up with to match up with your messaging. So
now that we've covered Facebook, let's talk about getting the most out of advertising on Twitter. Looking at Twitter ad types, it also is a very robust advertising platform, giving you many different ad types to reach your audience. Here are the main options to choose from. A promoted tweet, and this can either be a tweet that your account has already created before, in which you can pay to promote to a wider audience, similar to a boosted post on Facebook. Or it's a tweet designed specifically as an ad that will appear in users' timelines and search results, but not your own Twitter account, like a promoted post on Facebook. Then we talk about followers. The followers or promoted account option allows you to directly promote your Twitter presence and gain more followers. Sean, I think this is similar to a boosted versus promoted post conversation. It comes down to your objectives. Any experience with the followers ad type, and have you seen clients benefit from it?
Yeah, I have seen some clients benefit from it. I would say this is most useful if you are new to Twitter or if you are really trying to build up your audience. So using the followers or promoting your account there can really boost up your total follower number.
And here's an example of a promoted tweet with a card.
So like Power Editor for Facebook, our strategists utilize Twitter cards when advertising for clients because they offer more flexibility, more control, and they'll stand out better in terms of when you're looking at a Twitter stream. So this is coming from Twitter. They tell you can attach rich photos, videos, and media experiences to tweets, helping to drive traffic to your website. And again, like with Ads Manager on Facebook, it's likely you will be able to find success when managing a single account or just getting started by focusing your efforts on promoted tweets.
With a promoted tweet, you can choose whether or not you attach an image. In this way, Twitter is a more flexible platform than Facebook. Images too are allowed to contain copy, though it is not recommended, for the same reasons that Sean mentioned earlier. You must remember that most of your audience on Twitter will be viewing your tweet on a mobile device. They will not be bothered into pinching and zooming to read text on an image.
Yeah, and although you have 140 characters to work with, it's important to keep in mind that the ideal tweets are between 120 and 130 characters. And keep in mind too that you don't want to use more than 2 hashtags. So the main focus here is keep it short and sweet if at all possible.
And Twitter has a very useful guide to targeting. We put the resource in the chat pane so you can look at it more there. Like Facebook, you can go into great detail in a variety of different areas, including location, gender, interest, device, and behavior. Much like Google AdWords PPC campaigns, Twitter also allows you to target based on keywords. Let's talk about some of the targeting best practices from Twitter. First off, cover the basics. Select the appropriate location, language, and optional device targeting options before selecting additional targeting criteria.
And you also want to select one audience targeting type for each campaign. So you can choose from follower, keyword, behavior, interest, or a tailored audience to get more meaningful insights into your campaign.
And lastly, experiment. Test different targeting approaches to understand which audience is the best fit and which messages resonate with different groups. You may be surprised by what's most effective for you. And like Facebook, it's difficult to pin down an exact price for your Twitter ad. According to the last published estimate from digital marketing professor Jason Alliger, a promoted tweet and a followers or promoted account can cost anywhere between 50 cents to $4 per engagement. At the high end then, the same ad for the bank looking for 500 click-throughs could cost as much as $2,000. It is likely that the cost will fall somewhere in the middle of that range though. So thinking about the key takeaways here, first off, always introduce yourself to the Twitter audience. Also include a clear call to action. And then choose a custom fit over one size fits all.
And I have to say it again, you're going to want to focus on your personas, know your audience, and then also make sure that your content marketing strategy aligns with the messaging that you're including on your tweets.
Now getting the most out of advertising on LinkedIn. LinkedIn is your go-to network if your advertising goals are recruitment or connecting with a B2B audience. LinkedIn allows you to create 2 main ad types similar to the main ad Facebook and Twitter ads. So let's look at a LinkedIn ad. This is an ad more along the lines of your standard banner ad. Picture and not much text placed on the side of the screen. But there's also sponsored updates. These are the 2 types of sponsored updates. Direct sponsored content is a post that shows up in a user's feeds that doesn't go on your own page, while a standard sponsored post is a post on your own page that is boosted with money and can also show up in users' feeds. So Sean, any thoughts on LinkedIn ads versus sponsored updates?
Yeah, it's what we've talked about before. It really comes down to what your objectives are, but I will say that, when it comes to ads, they can sometimes come across as just that, just ads. And when we talk about the LinkedIn ads, those are really more of your traditional banner ads that you're looking at. So when we're talking about being unobtrusive and providing value to users, that's where the sponsored updates come in. And I think you'll see a lot more success doing a sponsored update. So that's what I recommend to most of my clients.
And LinkedIn is not the visual network that Facebook or even Twitter is. As such, your ability to incorporate images into your ads is somewhat limited. The size of a LinkedIn image is a mere 160 by 111 pixels. Bearing in mind mobile viewers, it follows that the image for your LinkedIn ad should use as little text as possible.
So the ideal length for a LinkedIn post is only slightly longer than Facebook's, but at 100 characters, it's still not a lot to work with. So again, the thing to keep in mind is short and sweet.
And targeting on LinkedIn is quite robust compared to the other networks. Think of all the demographic info that you entered as you establish your own personal account, where you went to school, your certifications, hobbies, and volunteer interests, just to name a few. What we're going to talk about now is a list of every aspect of your potential audience that you can target from LinkedIn, starting with location. This is the only required field that LinkedIn has in their advertising. Geographic location is based on location specific by the member or the IP address location.
You can also target on company name, so the organization a member lists as his or her employer. These are based on LinkedIn company pages, which are maintained by company employees.
In the company's industry, so this is the primary industry of the company where the member is actually employed.
You can also do company size, so this allows you to reach members based on the size of the organization where they work, and company size is determined by the number of employees listed on the company page.
And I like company connections. This really allows you to reach the first degree connections of employees at companies you selected. This is only available for companies with more than 500 employees though.
You can also target on followers. So this allows you to target your own company page followers. And to use this targeting facet, your ads account must be associated with your company page. When not utilizing this facet, by default, your campaigns may reach both followers and non-followers.
And job title, when members update their LinkedIn profiles with new roles, these job titles are grouped by LinkedIn's algorithms and organized into standardized titles.
You can also target on job function. So this is based on standardized groupings of the job titles entered by LinkedIn members.
Job seniority, this describes the rank and influence of a member's current role in their organization.
You also have the option of schools. So the school, college, university, or any other learning institution where a member completed a course is open to you.
Even the major or area of study within a member's degree is able to be targeted. These are also standardized from member-entered degrees.
And you can do the degree itself as well. So this recognizes ranks granted by a college, university, or any other learning institution.
And the other good one to have in there is for skills. These are highly relevant keywords found within a member's profile and skills section that indicate expertise in a particular area.
And here's one I've seen a lot of success with. It's groups. So you can target LinkedIn groups where members who share interests or professional associations get together and talk. You can discover new information and ask questions there too.
And also gender. This is the determination of whether a member is female or male, and it's inferred based on member profile information.
And then you can target on age as well, so just an estimation of how old a member is based on their profile information.
And lastly, years of experience. This allows you to reach a target audience based on the years of professional experience they've accumulated over their career.
And again, don't dive too deep on all these different options. There's a lot, and we just went through them all, but LinkedIn caps you at 100 different targeting options, but even that is definitely too much. So they offer some best practices at finding and targeting your audience with LinkedIn ads, and we can share that out as well.
Like with Facebook and Twitter, pricing data is not publicly available. However, anecdotally, at Silvertech, we have found LinkedIn to be the most expensive platform of the three to advertise on. Perhaps the depth of targeting options is more valuable to a B2B advertiser with a higher price point than a retailer advertising toward individual consumers on Facebook or Twitter. So Kissmetrics suggests that LinkedIn click-through costs can start at around $2 and run up to $4 or $5 per click. At the high end, our same ad for the bank could cost as much as $2,500, which would price it higher than the same ad on Facebook and Twitter.
Yeah, and make sure, when you're making that decision about pricing, that is going to be second to choosing the right social network to advertise on. So if you figured out that your audience is on LinkedIn and that's the best place to find them, then the higher cost per click might actually be worth it for you.
Social networks are pay to play, and advertising should be a component of every social media marketing strategy.
And again, refer to your personas and content marketing strategy when you're choosing the right social network to advertise on.
Also, experiment with organic posts to come up with an ideal content to promote.
So in review, you want to make sure you keep your ads short and sweet. Don't rely on text on your images either to convert.
Target, but don't overdo it. So focus on demographics identified in your key personas and don't go much further than that.
And then estimate costs by deciding on your goals and identifying average conversion rates from the network you are choosing to advertise on, and compare that to how you convert on your website.
So next month, our Inbound Summer School will shift its focus to search engine optimization. Join us Thursday, August 24th at 2 p.m. for search engine marketing, SEO, local listings, and how to be found online. And on Thursday, August 31st at 2 p.m., we'll be joining us for search engine marketing, pay-per-click best practices. Thank you so much for joining us today. Just a reminder, the slides, handout, and an on-demand video of today's webinar will be made available after the broadcast. So let's see if any other questions came up while we were chatting away, Sean.
Yeah, so it looks like we did get one. So it says, Facebook allows you to choose how long you run campaigns for. Do you recommend stretching the campaign out over a long period of time or condensing it into a single day? So this is a really good question. I would recommend stretching this out over a longer period of time than just a day, even if that is a few days or a week or a few weeks, because what ends up happening is your visitors or your users, they might not be using the social media network that you're targeting on. They might not be there on one specific day. So you want to give yourself the best chance of reaching them when they're actually on the network. So for that reason, I would recommend stretching that out over at least a few days.
Great. Well, everyone, thank you again. As always, feel free to reach out with any questions. Our contact information is on the screen here. And we appreciate your attendance and look forward to having you join us the next time.